Now, this piece of jewelry, this horizontal bar, is part of Xtool's, I would say, jewelry kit or jewelry solutions that they have on their site. It's a horizontal bar that is 40 millimeters by 10 millimeters, and it's a beautiful piece of jewelry that can be personalized just within seconds. Now, we have a jig that we've created. Let me show you how this is going to work. So I went ahead and I created this jig, and this jig gives me the ability to, with a lot of precision, and also something that can be repeated. Like if you're going to be doing a lot of these, having a jig makes a lot of sense. Basically, to place these bars in this area here, and then what I could do is once I run my engraving, the engraving is always going to be in the same space. For me, one of the things that's really important is to have something that's repeatable, something that has low, I would say, low prep and low finish, right? And this definitely falls here. So here you can see that the piece of jewelry fits into this slot nicely, and then you could already see an engraving that we did. And I'm going to show you how I did this in a couple seconds. So I'm just going to remove this so you can see how it looks without it. So here's the jig, and it has each slot for each piece of jewelry. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the jewelry right here in this slot right here, just like that. And then basically, when I put this in the F1, all I do is hit engrave once I've set this up in the software. It's super duper easy. And again, I could do 3 of these. Now, to get the best result from the Xtool F1 Laser Engraver when it comes to engraving jewelry, I highly recommend using a jig. So here I went ahead and I created a jig for this horizontal bar. And you can see I named it 40 by 100 Xtool horizontal bar. And the jig that I created actually has 3 spots, as you can see here. And one of them is the focus point, because you want to be able to always focus before you run your engrave. Now, what I can do, since I have these positions here, is I can turn it off, and then I can turn on the area that or the text that I'm going to add for engraving. So I'm going to turn this on. So this is going to be in this first position because I have 3 slots, and I'm using the middle slot to be able to engrave this name, Evelyn, with a heart. Now, if I turn on my template again, you'll notice that these are the slots that I have for my jig. I have 3 slots. And then this, the benefit of having these rectangles, which actually are 40 by 10 millimeters, is that it gives me the ability to center the words or the symbols that I'm going to have on this specific piece of jewelry. So this gives me a really nice way to do that. Now I'm going to turn that off because I don't want that to be part of the engraving. And I also, you'll notice up here on the upper right-hand corner, I have it set to ignore. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide it because I don't want to see it. And then you just see the name here. And by the way, this is already centered, and we'll turn on that layer real quick so you can see how it's centered already. It's vertically and horizontally centered. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And now something else that I'll show you is that the settings I have chosen is infrared, 100 power, 50 speed, 1 pass, 300s, or the lines per centimeter is 300 lines per centimeter. That's it. And the engrave mode is bidirectional. That's all you'll have to do. And this one right here, while this is engrave, I did a score here. Now, if I chose an engrave, the difference would be is that this would be filled. And I didn't want it to be filled. I don't think it looks that sharp when it's filled. So I like to score. So I'll get the outline of the heart. So this is what we're going to have on that horizontal bar, 40 by 10 millimeters. Let's go ahead and hit process, and then we'll engrave. Now, I always recommend that you do framing. Framing is going to give you the ability to see how your image is going to show on the actual piece of jewelry before you run the engrave. And that just gives you a lot of precision and allows you to, just make sure that you're going to get things right. I've already done this, so we're going to skip this space or this part. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to make sure that each one of these pieces is set to output. This one is set to output, and this is a score. And what I did for this one is I set the score for 150 and 3 passes because I wanted a deeper score. So now when I hit process, you'll notice here's the name, and then here's the heart. Now, this is the highest possible resolution I can get for this name. And while it looks a little fuzzy, once this engraves on the jewelry, you're going to see how sharp it looks. Now, the Xtool F1 Laser Engraver has 2 lasers, a blue laser and an IR laser. And what you're seeing is the IR laser, which is the one that's used for jewelry. And this is happening in real time. There's no acceleration to give you a sense of how fast this engraving is. It only takes seconds to do. Now, the engraving, as you can see here, is going It's putting the name of the individual that's going on this bar. And then what it's going to do is it's going to score. The score is going to be more of an outline. It's not going to be as strong or pronounced as you see the name here. But you can see how clean it's coming through, how fast it's coming through. And then the scoring, which is going to be super fast, and you'll see that in a second, will just take place and do the heart. And then the engraving will be completely done. That's all there is to it. All right, now one of the things about jewelry is that it's basically a fingerprint magnet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in here just for a second so we can see what this looks like. And you can see the overall quality of this engrave. And so I'll put it in an angle, and you can see this just took seconds to engrave. And then you can see that this is the engraved piece right here, and then this is the score. And I was actually going for that look. I didn't want this to be filled. I wanted just the heart to be a score, and then I wanted the actual engraving to be on the name. And you can see, again, how clean that came across, right? And again, able to do this really easily and with a lot of precision because of, first of all, the laser engraver and the fact that I have this jig that I put into my Xtool F1, and it makes it super easy to make it repeatable. So if I wanted to do like 10 of these, it's going to be really easy because, again, they're all the same spot. All I had to do is change the name and hit process, and that's it. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.